Okay, YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we got another video here by Desu. English voice actors crash out and gaslight gamers after more Hoyoverse strikes. What? Strikers fired. Okay, I think Hoyoverse, right? Okay, so as we guys know, there's been a strike, and this strike has been because voice actors don't want their voice to be replicated by AI. But even the SAG-AFTRA, this whole it's called a union. SAG-AFTRA is a union. This union also, it's a bit sneaky. It has a bit the way that they do certain things is kind of a bit funny. The way how the English voice actors are also virtue signaling. There's a strike happening and they were busy shitting on this other guy, but you know, the way how they treated this guy was terrible. And I think as well, a lot of these voice actors are also coming from a whole convoluted state. I just feel like this whole strike is just a mess for everybody. You know, I feel like if you're a person that has a job, I just think stick to your job. Don't involve yourselves in a strike where you are going to be the catalyst for everybody losing their jobs. I feel like, you know, especially in such a fragile industry as voice acting, I feel like you also need to start taking care of yourself before you start being the hero or the, you know, being the right part of history. Meanwhile, that doesn't exist when you're broke, you know, type of thing. So we're gonna just see what's gonna happen. I think there's another whole controversy. We've been watching the Genshin Impact. One of the voice actors, she was just crashing out completely. So let's see what's gonna happen in this one. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and let's just jump in. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So today we're going to go over some updates regarding the ongoing collective work refusal that several English voice actors are participating in. And we're going to see their shift away from Twitter to their echo chamber on Bluesky, where their reaction to a lot of different developments are getting increasingly desperate and angry, especially given the recent news that 3 more of these voice actors participating in the work refusal have been let go by Hoyoverse. So
yeah, man, Hoyoverse, those are the people that make Genshin Impact, I think. So yeah, unfortunately, bro, if you are on a strike, you need to understand that if the company is gonna fire you, they're gonna replace you, because you need to understand you're on a strike. You know, one thing which I don't like that these people do, they try and take out their frustration and anger out on the other people that take the jobs or the people that support the game. Meanwhile, they should be taking out their frustration on Hoyoverse. Hoyoverse is the one that doesn't want to give these people the contracts that they want. They don't want to give them the right contracts. They don't want to give them the right stipulations and agreements. Hoyoverse, the people that make Genshin Impact, is the people that they should be fighting against, not us. Why are you swearing at us? Go fight Hoyoverse. Go to them and be angry at them, not us. Because as much as we are just going to play the game, we don't care. That's unfortunately the way things are. I'm sorry about that.
Before we get into the most recent stuff, let's do a really quick rundown of everything that's happened so far. So SAG-AFTRA is a union that was masquerading a collective work refusal as a legitimate strike in the name of giving AI protections to union and non-union members. Of course, people would discover,
which I like, the whole AI protection. I like that whole point of view. You know, it's actually a really good initiative.
It was simply a collective work refusal. However, the people participating in it, like this individual, did not provide any voice work for 6 months with Hoyoverse, and of course they eventually let them go, and they were
and that's unfortunately, that's what happens in a strike. If you do not want to work, what do you think is going to happen? That's what happens, bro. I agree with my guy here, John, the previous guy over here, this guy, John Patu, English. Anyways, I agree with this guy. If he doesn't want to work, that's cool, dude. But don't be mad when the company let you go. Honestly.
Months with Hoyoverse, and of course, they eventually let them go, and they were replaced by Jacob Takanashi.
And what made me mad was with Jacob Takanashi, everybody was going after Jacob Takanashi, and I'm looking at them like, guys, you're mad at a guy taking another job for being a voice actor. It's not that he's gonna be director, he's not gonna be CEO, he's just another voice actor that John was taking a strike for. You should be mad at Hoyoverse. Hoyoverse was the one that hired him. Like, what? What's going on?
Tokyo-based voice actor who was not aware of the collective work refusal and also had no obligation to do so. And in response to him taking this position, dozens of his own peers lashed out at him. They called him a scab, a traitor, diabolical, a clout chaser.
Which is disgusting. I feel like we're in this industry, they're all independent contractors. Despite them being voice actor, you're an independent contractor. You're a person that wakes up, goes to an employment, does a certain job, and then you leave. You're not an employee. You're an independent contractor. And that's the thing which gets me so frustrated with the voice acting community of how do you guys start virtue signaling? Meanwhile, you guys are also in a job. No, it was just insane. I'm sorry.
A bad person. They even made weird comments about his financial situations. It was a lot. He got harassed genuinely by his peers. You can see an example of that here with Kaylee Mills, who called him
disgusting. These people should go after the people that made Genshin Impact, the people that hired him. You don't go after another employee, because if it wasn't Jacob, it was going to be another person. If it wasn't another person, it was going to be also another person, because it's a company. A company is going to keep on hiring and hiring and hiring. That's how it is. It's business, though.
Diabolical, and said, if you need money, take the role uncredited, and this looks like an easy grab for clouts. Meanwhile, of course, this individual...
this individual's working themselves. Why don't she go on strike? Again, virtue signaling. It's easier to say that people mustn't take money because they're this or that. Meanwhile, she's also working. Like, what? That's insane.
Was still working on Hoyoverse products at the time, but they had their own technical reason that they were allowed to.
Because I'm disabled, I'm this, I'm that, woe is me. Okay, so since I have my own problems, he mustn't have his own problems. I have my own problems, that's why I'm working. Disgusting. These people are disgusting, bro.
Critical. But to this individual's credit, she has come out and recently publicly and privately apologized to Takanashi, saying the comments, especially about his financials, was too far. And if you want to accept that or not, at least this is someone who's...
Maturity. I like that. That's mature. Professionalism. I feel like also these people lack what? Professionalism. Business ethical professionalism and awareness. Self-awareness of being in a business setting. I feel like that's one thing that they lack a lot.
Trying to correct the course here, but others involved with the dogpiling have only doubled down, including Karina here, who is the voice of Paimon in Genshin.
Yeah, Karina, in my previous videos, we've been watching her go absolutely insane on TikTok. She's been going on rants. She's Karina. This girl, Paimon has been just insane, bro, honestly.
Said this in response to the original announcement from Takanashi, and she's been incredibly active on Bluesky to a pretty almost impressive degree with the amount of posts and reposts that she does. We'll look at some of that in just a second, but recently I found it very interesting that she reposted this message saying Jacob was never harassed. He was criticized for his actions, but never harassed.
No, he was harassed. Dude, what is harassing? People telling you to quit your job, people telling you to go die, people telling you, dog, that's harassment, bro. They were telling him he must quit his job, he must go die, he must go. Dude, they were harassing Jacob brutally because people were jumping on a bandwagon of no reason. These voice actors are honestly the most scummiest people I've seen, bro. It's not that they scummy. They live in this world of internet, Bluesky, of Twitter. And the problem is you need to kind of look at things from a reality perspective before you start jumping on these bandwagons, bro, which is very disappointing, honestly.
Do you see the layers of gaslighting at this point? They gaslit you about the collective work refusal, masquerading it as a strike. They gaslit you about the reasons for it. They claimed it was all about AI protections, but in the end, we know it's just because they wanted to flip Hoyoverse into a union member, as a union set of contracts.
But again, Hoyoverse is a Chinese company. There's no ways that they can be under an American union. It's impossible. Actually, this is one thing which I also learned is that Hoyoverse can't even be in a union underneath an American company, you know. But I understand, you know,
trying to get more people and more roles for the union, and now they're gaslighting you about something you can see with your own two eyeballs. Okay, everyone saw the harassment and dogpiling from his own peers as a result of taking this position. He was in fact harassed. It wasn't just criticism, and you can see how these people flip-flop how they view criticism versus harassment. Pretty much any video on YouTube or even
lack of professionalism, honestly, because these people, again, it's not like these people are fighting for big roles. They're fighting for voice acting, guys. Come on, bro. None of you are gonna be CEO of these companies. We're all fighting for voice acting, which is disappointing, man.
Social media posts disagreeing or pointing out the inconsistencies and the lies of their collective work refusal, they're labeled as harassment, not criticism. In this video, for example, I guarantee the subjects of this video would consider this harassment, even though I think this is just fair criticism about the many inconsistencies of this collective work refusal. But like I said, Karina has been busy on Bluesky. I guess because of the work refusal, she has a lot of free time because just like look at this feed.
That was all from when?
This is one day.
Wow.
So far, we've scrolled through 1 day of posts and reposts.
Wow, she got a lot of free time.
On and on and on and on. It's actually crazy.
This is one of those statements of she literally needs to go outside and touch grass. Stop living on the internet. The internet is not real, bro. Get outside, go live your life. For real, bro. You know?
You can see down here, 2 days ago, we just went through 2 days of posts. But there's other news involving voice actors, in particular the collective work refusal, that's getting a lot of attention on Bluesky and amongst English voice actors. You can see from a voice actor here, Sean Laraway. He says this: according to the Hoyoverse website, Zenless Zone Zero's 1.7 update has replaced the English voice actors for 3 different characters. And you can see it's confirmed here in the notes. And based on the reaction from these voice actors, it's very clear that these 3 voice actors providing these roles were participating in the collective work refusal. And of course, when you don't work, the natural consequence is typically you're going to be fired. So this is not too surprising.
True.
But we saw more reaction to this thanks to people like Little Kuribo. Okay, you might remember him from one of the previous videos. He said this insane line in response to Takanashi denouncing any sort of threats being made in support of him. And oddly enough, Kuribo here comes back and says, you need to publicly state that us voice actors aren't bullying you. And basically, if anything bad happens to these voice actors...
You know, Takanashi, honestly, if I was him, bro, like, this is where one thing which I appreciated him for is that he was silent. We've never heard much from Takanashi, Jacob Takanashi. The only thing that he did complain about is when people started harassing other people. He was like, no. Stop harassing other people. Harass me. It's fine. But other people, leave them out of it. Don't now pull in other people. Just leave them out and just only put me in it, you know?
Actors, it's all on you unless you basically get rid of any sort of guilt or responsibility that they were supposed to have for attacking him. A classic bullying mentality here, trying to make the literal victim of a harassment campaign come out and say, I'm not being bullied. Very strange, but they've also been very active on Bluesky, and you can see they responded to the previous post saying these actors deserve better. And then down here they say on a certain subreddit, they're happy about this and saying Hoyo had no choice, but happy about striking actors, or being happy about striking actors getting fired is inexcusably messed up. Hoyo always had a choice. Now, of course, I think it's an oversimplification of this whole process. Like, yeah, they're going to replace these voice actors. They don't have a response.
Again, which all falls under one thing. Why aren't these guys fighting Hoyoverse? Don't fight everybody else. People are not... we people do not decide what happens in Hoyoverse's department. You guys must fight Hoyoverse. Hoyoverse is the one that is hiring and firing these people. What do we do? What do we have to say? Fight Hoyoverse. That's the one thing which I wish these voice actors could conglomerate and bully Hoyoverse. You know, bully the company that's hiring and firing you guys, not us. We are just watching. We're bystanders. Even if we can text 1,000 things on Twitter, nothing will change. Nothing will happen. They must go fight Hoyoverse.
Responsibility to the union, and this is the route that people chose, and they put their careers at risk or their jobs with Hoyoverse, and they got laid off. I don't think it's too surprising. Now, I'm going to say this, and it relates to a lot of the localizer drama with anime and manga, where some people who are abusing their position to make ridiculous translations are at the threat of being replaced by AI. It's the same thing here with these English voice actors. I am not sitting here and applauding and being excited and elated for these people losing their jobs. However, I just don't feel bad for them because they took on this risk and this was one of the consequences they faced. And the fact that anyone in this scenario is perplexed why some people are cheering on these firings, they're not paying attention. They're not self-aware because the voice actors who engaged in this dogpile and this ridiculous behavior over the last month, they made fools out of themselves and they made their cause something people don't want to support anymore. The optics were really bad, and now people are going to celebrate them losing their jobs because they don't like them. They don't like what they're seeing on social media. I don't think it's too surprising that people are celebrating this sort of stuff. But also, just like with Corina, they're reposting a lot of stuff that is quite inflammatory. Here's one post from another voice actor they shared saying, "Fans, regardless of what you're a fan of, I know that you want more of the things you like, but understand that when a strike is happening, if you're getting more of that something and suddenly the entire cast is replaced, you have to understand that it's coming at the cost of people's livelihoods." And then this one's very interesting. They reposted, "What I will say is that getting all of your information from sensational YouTube videos, short videos, with half of the information or third/fourth hand from other fans who have gotten their info from these sources is only going to harm the industry more."
No, bro, we ain't doing nothing. The one thing these people don't understand, especially like, bro, the industry, bro, we can just talk about it. We don't have a say. We don't hire none of you guys. We don't fire none of you guys. We are just looking. We're outside spectators. We're watching. You know, we do not have any say or anything in these boardrooms, in these places where they hire or fire you. So do not speak about us, you know? Like,
I find this a very interesting tactic. They're trying to say basically
don't take your information from YouTubers. That's what they're trying to do.
Someone who's criticizing this movement has no idea what they're talking about. True. And only qualified people like the supporters of SAG-AFTRA can actually give you an opinion that is a trustworthy one. And also these people
I might be full of shit and they might be full of shit, but you decide who's the most full of shit in person that's out there.
Criticizing this collective work refusal and how it's being conducted and the people doing it. Oh, they're the ones harming the industry, not the voice actors who are ruining their own movement by acting like lunatics.
And then you should let people decide. You know, you can't be the one that's going to be saying, no, you should dismiss anybody's opinions about the movement. You must let people decide, you know?
On social media. And here's the thing, okay? There are technical aspects of this that are very complicated with the whole SAG-AFTRA and really just kind of like the bottom line of what it means to be in that union. But the very simple outlook on this issue is very simple. The optics are very simple. There is a movement that these voice actors were controlling the narrative of for a long time. And then as soon as people start to poke at it and start realizing inconsistencies, these voice actors go mask off. They start harassment campaigns. They start acting like petulant children.
Lack of professionalism. They start lacking professionalism. They start doing things where you're just like, dude, you're a person that is an independent contractor. Like, stop doing these things. You know, it's a lack of professionalism that these guys have, which disappoints me a lot, you know?
And guess what? People look at that and say, wow, I don't want to support whatever your movement is. What? That's really how simple it is. You can look at the voice actors and how they're behaving and it tells a very clear story, and one that shows that a lot of people don't sympathize with their cause anymore because of stuff like that. Now, continuing on, little Kuribo would say this: if you see the usual grifters and anger harvesting content creators getting behind the actors have no right or reason to strike Hoyo titles, the union is a scam, etc. argument, I'd ask those of you who are rational to consider how steeped in ignorance that take must be to catch fire.
Again, being in a union, guys, before we even start having the whole conversation, one thing a union does is protect your rights, and that's a good thing. But number two, what a union doesn't do, they don't give you jobs. Union doesn't give you jobs. A union doesn't wake up and say, here's a job. And if it does give you a job, it's not going to be the best job, guys. Come on, let's be honest, you know. Voice acting, you're not going to be a millionaire off of it. And if you are, thank God you are. But I'm saying majority. I'm not saying the top creme de la creme. I'm saying majority. If I had to wake up tomorrow and become a voice actor, will it make me money or not? And now I'm underneath a union that I'm paying $3,000 for. Oh my God, imagine $3K, bro. That's a lot of money.
That quick. And down here they say, ask yourself if you trust the people striking for months or the people doing everything in their power to undermine that in the span of a few weeks. This is very close to self-awareness. It's not the grifters, the usual grifters who are disrailing this whole movement. It's literally the voice actors. They completely crumbled their own movement by acting like a bunch of lunatics. And you look at their social media accounts, it's like Arkham Asylum, dude. These people are tweeting every single minute of their day. Like, they're still fuming over this, and they
lack of professionalism, lack of self-awareness, bro. Honestly, like, that's the thing which makes me so disappointed in their whole movements. It's like, why are you guys acting like this? Act like people that are in business, that are you're employed. Act like that. Don't act like some weird Twitter person and you start doing Twitter antics, you start doing Bluesky antics, and it's like, bro, come on, bro. Like, there's ways to approach a situation like this, and you guys will, like, professionalism, bro. Like, I can't stop preaching that, you know. These people are employed. That's the one thing which they need to understand. They're employed, they're independent contractors. They must start acting in that way, you know. And if they do not agree with anything that Hoyoverse is doing, go after Hoyoverse. Don't go after everybody else. Like, what? You're angry at everybody else for having an opinion, but Hoyoverse is the people that do the hiring and the firing.
Still won't accept that, maybe we shouldn't have treated Jacob Takanashi that way and handled this a little bit better and been a little less misleading with the goals of this collective work refusal. Instead, they're just dismissing all criticism as
they treated Jacob like dog shit, honestly.
Of the product of grifters and stuff like that. And you might notice a common theme throughout all of this, not just with English voice actors, but other topics on this channel like anime and manga localizers, games journalists. They all have a burning hatred of YouTubers.
Dude.
They don't want to accept anything they do, any opinion they have. They call them grifters. They call them reactionaries. All that.
Which I don't understand. Like, I'm thinking of people like I think I understand, because YouTubers have big followings. You know, I'm doing a video on Refusal, and YouTubers got big followings. They're literally like the feds. Because they do their research, bro. That's one thing you gotta respect for a lot of YouTubers. They do their research, they don't play around, and we keep professionalism. Some people are not the best. I can say that, you know, we don't have the best of the best, but I mean, you know, we're trying, bro. We put the information out there, I guess, you know. That's the nice thing. That's one thing which, when it comes to the games journalists, to Hollywood, you know, to production companies, to games production, they don't like a lot of YouTubers. Because nice thing which I like about the YouTubers, these people are, because remember back in the day of social media, before there was social media, there was the product, the journalist, and the consumer. You know, I mean, well, when I mean product, I mean the people that make the product, the production, all of that. So nowadays the middleman is gone. So now the middleman is now the YouTuber, the Twitter guy, the independent blogger, these independent guys are taking out the middleman. So now the consumer can only rely on them being, it's either they're going to go straight to the product or they're going to go through a source that they trust. That means the YouTuber, the Twitter guy, the guy that's giving them the information. Sorry for me ranting.
That stuff. They are fuming in jealousy, and in this case they're really mad about it because they've been controlling the narrative on this work refusal from day one. And now over the past month, because people have covered this situation or talked about it even on social media, it's put cracks into the movement, and now people are seeing all these people and their goals for what they really are, and these people are fuming about it, and now they're trying to downplay all the people doing coverage by labeling them as grifters and anger harvesting content creators. Now, continuing on, they try to answer someone's question about basically why even work on non-union jobs if you're a union worker, because that's what many of these participating
for money, idiot. For money. Why are these people even working, bro? For money, you stupid. Why do people work? For money. Like, that's like, why is he even asking that question, bro? Like, why are you asking that question? Let's see, generally asking because a lot of voice actors want to be in the union. What? Want to be in the union, and union actors actively flipping those projects from with workers with what? Shut up, bro. These people want to work for money. This is a thing of money. Are we getting paid or no? Like, stop making it a unionized and non-union. Bro, what happened when there was no union? You guys were working overtime, working all of these things, bro. Like, again, this is why people don't want to work with people with unions, because it's just, it's a headache. It's a headache. And if you're in a union, what happens now you get fired? Will your union find you a job or not? No. A union, they don't provide jobs, guys. I'm telling you, you know.
Work refusal parties were doing with Hoyoverse. But he says this, because a lot of actors want to be in the union, and union actors actively flipping those projects from within is a common way that happens. And that's very interesting, because that's what people were saying from the jump, that this was a way to try to flip Hoyoverse into a union set of contracts, and people were told they were crazy and stupid for saying that stuff right from the jump. And that's exactly what they're saying right here. Yes, the goal was very obvious. They wanted to flip Hoyoverse and get more people in the union, which would mean more opportunities for them and more money for the union. Like, we all understand that the way these people are going about it was deceptive and also pretty manipulative. And down here they say, you know, there's far more jobs for people who are outside of the union.
Yeah, of course.
You're just convincing people they shouldn't join the union at this point.
No, of course, of course. Why would you want to join a union? Because imagine now you have to try and work for a company. The company now knows that, oh, you're part of a union. Ah, shucks, we can't really have you because we might make you work overtime or something, you know? It's like, ah, shucks, you know? The problem is, like, being in a union kind of also limits you. You're in a voice acting. In a voice acting gig, it limits you because a lot of companies won't take you because you have a union, you know, because they're going to exploit you in a sense, in a simple sense. Of course, a lot of companies do exploit, you know, but that's working, guys. As long as they pay, you know, being exploited is wrong, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's not the best job, guys. Again, you're not applying to be a CEO. You're going to become a voice actor, you know. It's being like a game dev, you know. Game developers get overtime. Being an editor, you get exploited. You work overtime. A lot of businesses, when it comes to digital media, a lot of production and all of that, you know, behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that happen that, you know, once you have a union, oh my gosh, it's just a headache. But at the end of the day, as long as you're getting paid, bro, it is what it is. You know, I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying these are the best conditions for people to be working in. It's honestly terrible. I wish everybody could have a union and we all could be kumbayaing all of that. But it's not, bro. Reality is, bro, things are moving, bro. Things are moving. People need people to work. And you get me? It, like, the way how people work, it you know? Yeah. Anyways. I just need to edit that.
Have to deal with any of these crazies. You don't have as much responsibilities. You don't have the initiation fees. You have more job opportunities. Like, I don't know. There are benefits to joining the union, but in this case, they're not doing a very good job of presenting their case. And then we have this where people are basically saying, I'm tired of the Yu-Gi-Oh tab on Bluesky, basically just being little Kuribo posting about unions over and over again. And they say, you know, legitimately, I'm sorry if my posts about the strike are frustrating to view on your timeline. My spouse is striking, as are many of my friends. As a result, many of them are struggling. I am speaking out because I have seen people for months now misrepresent what they are struggling for. And this is the other thing that people just don't want to see over and over again. And I saw it on many different pages of these voice actors. They are constantly talking about how much they're struggling, especially financially, and they have like fundraisers to pay their rent and stuff like that. And like, yeah, it sucks.
My guy, it's 2025. You think, bro, these people are voice actors. You think they can't get another person to go do your job? Guys, self-awareness, bro, is very important. You're not doing something, you're not a developer. You're a voice actor. Not to shit on anybody's career. I'm a YouTuber with 1,000 likes, it's fine. 1,000 subscribers, it's fine. I know myself. I know I'm not the biggest, I'm not the best. Oops, sorry. I'm not the biggest, I'm not the best. But dude, at the end of the day, self-awareness is really important. You need to be self-aware. You need to do your job, do your things, and get out. Strike while the pen is hot, whatever the saying goes, you know.
Struggling, but this is the route you took. First of all, you went into voice acting. That is already a pretty underpaid route to go, and that's a fair thing to point out. Any voice actor says they don't get paid enough. I think they're on to something there. But if you're gonna refuse to work, I think you kind of lose the ability to like weaponize the fact that you're struggling or use it as a way to garner sympathy at the very least, because you chose to do this, and also go on strike. I see.
Again, you shouldn't be looking at us. Go talk to the people that hired you. Hoyoverse didn't Hoyoverse put you in this you guys in this situation? Fight with them, you know?
These people who seem to have a lot of free time on their hands, not doing anything else to try to alleviate some of the pressures they're going through. I don't know the ins and outs of their personal lives, but it seems like they have an awful lot of time to be on Bluesky, like an insane level of time they spend on this app. But continuing on, the problem is with other posts, they're just so tone deaf. And again, they're trying to spin some sort of a narrative that all their critics are dumb and basically a bunch of wingnuts. Okay, so you have this person saying, I want to speak honestly. I think the shit around Jacob Takanashi got way too out of hand.
Agreed, brother. It got too out of hand. It got too personal. It got into a place where it was just nasty. Doing it to somebody that's your peer, you know? Like, damn, bro.
Way too quickly. I still believe he's a scab. I firmly believe he knew about the strike before he took the job.
I also believe that. But again, bro, what can he do, dude? Bro, it's voice acting. What must he do? Must he now be like, oh no, people are striking, no, fuck them, dude. Them people are not gonna pay you. Like what? Nah, bro. That's insane. That's insane, bro. That's ridiculous.
And that his post was in terrible taste, but the fallout has been effed. Yeah. Thanks to you guys. Again, they're trying to say, I think it went too far with Jacob Takanashi, and then they call him a scab, they call him a liar, and say his post celebrating his...
Disgusting, bro. You guys call another man a scab, but oh my god, that's disgusting. You should be calling Hoyoverse assholes. Because why didn't they acknowledge your strike? Why isn't Hoyoverse acknowledging your strike? What? Nah, insane, bro.
Role was in terrible taste. Do you see why people don't want to agree with you people?
No, because you're contradicting.
That things went too far without basically trying to get these
shit on him as
jabs in at Takanashi. And down here, they're talking more about this stuff, saying, that being said, the people who are actively spreading misinformation need to effing stop. Professionals have talked at length about these topics, only for y'all to ignore them and listen to YouTubers with their own agenda who construct false narratives.
Because the people can choose. People can choose who they want to listen to. They don't have to listen to you guys. Because you guys as well have your own agendas too. Exactly. You know?
It's like anti-vaxxers. They're calling YouTubers who dare to criticize their narrative anti-vaxxers. That's the levels they're going to here. And let's look at some other posts. This voice actress says, never ask a woman her age, a man his salary, or a Hoyo fan how unions work. Ah, yes. Mocking your own base here. You're mocking your own customers and people who are trying to support your industry and make them look like they're stupid because they don't understand the deep intricacies of this strike. No, they're seeing crazy behavior on social media and they don't want to support it anymore. And you have other posts like this from that Sean Laraway that shared the recent layoffs. They said this, you are not owed niceness / politeness from me or anyone if I/we keep getting death threats from Genshin cells. I certainly don't owe anyone gotcha splaining, misinformation, a customer service, have a nice day attitude. So yeah, you can go whatever route you want. You can start popping off on people on social media, but see how that's worked out so far. It's not worked out very well. And referring to Genshin players as incels is just pathetic behavior.
Dumb.
This is such a Bluesky post dismissing all of your critics as these nasty incels. But let's look at one more thing here. Another reason why people are just cringing whenever they see this stuff, and a conversation about the work refusal. This person says, the solution is so simple a caveman can figure it out. And yet ignorant folks will just blame the VAs actively striking and protesting to have basic human rights. Protesting to have basic human... They're missing basic human rights? What human...
Okay, I'm stopping this right now. Okay, you know what? I'm tired of seeing this whole voice acting and Genshin Impact and all of that, you know. I think I've spoke about it enough, you know. If another voice actor crashes out, I'm there for the crash outs. Trust me, I love the drama. I love the messiness. But yeah, all of this whole union thing, I'm clocked out, man. I think I've seen enough. I've had enough. I've heard enough. You know, I've said what I've said, you know. Watch the whole video. I've said what I've said, you know. Yeah, if you disagree, it's whatever, you know. I can be wrong, but at the same time, bro, this is dumb. You know, this is a whole dumb argument, you know. These people shouldn't be going against any person that is from the outside. People like Jacob Takanashi, bro, again, it's very disappointing for them to be going after Jacob Takanashi because, again, Jacob Takanashi didn't wake up and said, okay, cool, they're gonna now hire me. Genshin Impact, Hoyoverse is the ones that hired him. You know what? Why are you guys going after Jacob when he doesn't decide anything? He's not like, come on, bro. Lack of professionalism, lack of maturity, especially in business. You know, this is a business, bro. That's one thing which these people need to understand. Stop virtue signaling. Just because you're on a strike, you're not the only motherfuckers that went on strike in this lifetime, bro. A lot of people went on strike. So that's what I feel like, you know, they should really hone into. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.